I swear what I am about to say is true. I still see his face when I close my eyes. The prince who smiled while people begged for their lives. I grew up in a small West African town where old people told stories by the fire. Some were funny, some were wise, but the scariest ones were about rulers who never rested, even after death. As kids, we laughed at those tales. We thought the old people just wanted to control us with fear. But when I was 22, I learned the hard way that not every story is just a story. It began as a simple journey. I was looking for work. I had just finished learning carpentry, and I heard another town needed workers for a big project. The pay sounded good. Enough to change my life. So I set out with two other young men, Musa and Sonny. We were poor, so we walked. It was supposed to be a normal trip. Just a long dusty walk under the sun. But halfway through, we took the wrong path. Musa was the cautious one. He had heard too many stories. As we walked, he kept telling us about the old palace ruins we would pass if we took a shortcut. He told us about the prince who once ruled. A prince who had no heart. They said he would tax a widow until she sold her last bowl of grain, then laugh when her children cried. He forced servants to fight each other just so he could watch someone bleed. People whispered that he made sacrifices in the forest. Not animals. People. And when the people finally rose against him, they tried to burn him alive. But rain came from a clear sky and killed the fire. When the smoke cleared, the prince was gone. Vanished. Since then, hunters swore they saw him. Standing near trees. Smiling. I told Musa to stop trying to scare us. Sonny laughed too. He said, "That's old women's talk. If ghosts were real, we would see them every day." I wish we had listened to Musa. By late afternoon, we reached the fork in the road. Long path or shortcut? Sonny was tired and stubborn. He dragged us toward the bush path. The air there was strange. The birds went quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then we saw the ruins. The walls were broken but tall enough to remind you of what once stood there. Strange carvings of faces were still visible. Their eyes looked like they were following us. Sonny laughed and climbed onto one wall. He pretended to be a king, waving his arms and shouting fake commands. I wanted to tell him to stop, but before I could, we heard clapping. Slow. Steady. We turned, and that's when I saw him. At first, he looked like any young man. No crown, no royal robe. Just simple dark clothes. But the moment I saw his face, I knew. His eyes were too sharp, too alive. And he was smiling. Not a normal smile. It was the kind of smile that told you he already owned you. He stepped out of the shadows, and the forest grew colder. "Welcome," he said, his voice soft but echoing. It has been long since I had visitors. Sonny forced a laugh. "We are just passing through." The prince tilted his head. "Everyone is passing. Few return." My throat went dry. Musa whispered, "Don't look in his eyes." The prince came closer. His feet didn't touch the leaves. His eyes moved from Sonny to Musa, then to me. "You are strong," he said to Sonny. "You are careful," he said to Musa. Then to me, "You are afraid." Fear feeds me. I froze. I felt like my soul was being pulled out. The prince told us we could not leave unless we played his game. "What game?" Sonny asked, though his voice cracked. The prince pointed at a broken log nearby. "Each of you must prove loyalty. Only the loyal live alive." Sonny picked up the wood with shaky hands. The prince told him to strike one of us. We shouted no. Sonny dropped it. That was a mistake. The prince's smile vanished. Sonny's arm twisted on its own, the log forcing itself back into his grip. He screamed as invisible hands bent his wrist. The prince didn't even blink. Then he looked at Musa. Musa dropped to his knees, praying loudly, calling on God. The prince's eyes narrowed. And then Musa stopped breathing. He fell. Eyes open. Body stiff. Gone. I screamed. Sonny ran into the bush. The prince turned back to me. His smile returned. You see, he whispered. Fear is power. And I am never without it. He leaned close enough that I felt cold air on my face. Run, he said softly. Tell them I am still here. That was my chance. I ran until my chest felt like it would burst. Branches ripped my skin. My sandals tore. I didn't stop. On the main road, I found Sonny. He was bent over, vomiting. His body was shaking like he was freezing. We didn't speak. We just walked. When we reached the town, people asked why we looked half dead. We told them everything. They laughed. They said we were weak, that Musa died from heat or exhaustion. But when they went to the ruins, they found Musa's body exactly as I described. No wound. No blood. Just empty. They buried him quickly. Nobody wanted to talk about it after. Sonny left town. I heard later he lost his mind. He would sit by himself, clapping slowly and smiling. As for me, I can't sleep well anymore. Sometimes I wake up at night and swear I hear footsteps outside my window. Sometimes I hear clapping. Always slow. Always patient. When I dream, I see his smile. I wake up drenched in sweat. Some nights, I dream I am back at the ruins. The prince stands before me. He doesn't speak. He just waits, smiling. Like one day, he will finish what he started. I later learned more about him from the elders. They finally spoke. They said the prince was never buried. That's why he still walks. They said his own father cursed him for his cruelty. He told him, your hunger for fear will never end. You will never rest. You will live to remind others. Some even claimed his smile is a sign, if you see it, you carry his mark. You may escape once, but he will come again. That's what keeps me up at night. Because I saw it. He looked me straight in the eyes. I know many of you will dismiss this. Call it superstition. Call it a folktale. But I was there. I saw Musa fall with no reason. I saw Sonny's arm twist like a toy. I saw eyes that don't belong to this world. So if you ever travel near old ruins in West Africa, listen when locals warn you. Don't laugh. Don't think you are too modern for old stories. Because some stories are not stories. They are warnings. And one day, when you hear slow clapping behind you, you will remember my words.